Hello, fellow Rotarians and guests, and welcome to the 5,420th meeting of the 9th largest club in the world. Good to see you all. And one funny tidbit, I woke up this morning in Washington, D.C., all set to take my 6:15 a.m. flight so I could arrive bright and early for all of you. And I was one of the 1,200 people who had flights canceled. So I literally just rolled in from SFO, and I'm so happy to be with all of you today. So, yay! It's time to sing. Nicholas Adams, come on up. Stand behind you.
Thank you, Madam President. Would you please all stand and join me in a song you all know? Someone told me just a few minutes ago that they are really excited to sing the God Bless America each Wednesday, and he's really belting it out, is the way he put it. So I want to hear you all belt it out today, along with I'm going to celebrate James Williams and his comment by belting it out with him today. Yeah. So let's all join James in belting it out today. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. There were a few belters out there. That's good. Thank you very much.
Good belting. Thank you. All right, and a great big thank you to Jennifer. How's that whistle? A great big thank you to Jen Simmons for chairing the ELC committee, and for that committee, which is one of our largest, for being in the greeting line. Okay, can everybody see me? Can everybody hear me? Clap once if you see me. No, I'm kidding, guys, I'm kidding. Today we have a birthday, and that's Larry Sokoloff. So Larry, if you're in the room, happy birthday, and we look forward to toasting you in our respective homes this evening. And of course, don't forget to wish the people who have birthdays this week a very warm, happy day if you happen to run into them. And now it's time for guest introductions, and with the red badgers with the mics, Leslie Guardino and Kimberly Hill, if you'll please stand and briefly introduce yourself. And Kimberly will be starting clockwise for the introductions like always. So please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Hill. I am a professor of theater and the chair of the Department of Theater and Dance at Santa Clara University. Go Broncos. And my sponsor is the fabulous Brian Adams.
Wonderful. And the Lee Weimers Committee might be just right for you. Leslie.
Hi, welcome back.
Thank you.
Leslie Guardino. I am the co-founder of Canyon Snow Consulting. We do government affairs consulting here in Silicon Valley, and I am a part of the Rod Squad. So thanks for sponsoring me, Rod. It's great to be here.
Excellent. If you have a guest or you're a visiting Rotarian, please stand. Thank you.
Good morning, President Karen. I'm happy to introduce Shay Saldana, who actually comes to us as a legacy. His father was president of the Fresno Rotary.
Oh, wonderful.
Good afternoon. I'm Ramon Ware. I'm with the Los Gatos Rotary. And it's good to be here. And I'm also with ELC. So it's my second time visiting you guys.
Nice to have you. President Carl.
President Karen. I'm proud to introduce our newest mechanical engineer at San Luis O'Brien. He came from Austin by way of, from Chile by way of Austin, Giancarlo Toledo.
Welcome. Kimberly, do you want to, this one? Please, Bunny, go ahead.
President Karen, I have three guests. First, I'd like to introduce Shauna Lucy, who is the General Director and CEO of Opera San Jose.
Wonderful.
And is interested in becoming a member.
Oh, we love those words. Welcome, welcome.
Then I'd like to introduce Stephanie Wallace, who is the Major Gifts Officer for Opera San Jose.
Welcome.
And finally, Glenn Gould, audio engineer, and chief technical officer and husband of my household.
Perfect. Nice to have you. James.
Hi, James Williams. I'm pleased to introduce the wife of our speaker today, Mrs. Joyce Scott. She's a retired professional singer, which I could tell as we were just singing. And she's also on the board for Opera San Jose.
All right. President Fernando.
Welcome back from snowy East Coast. My name is Fernando Zazueta. I'm proud to introduce my grandson, Christopher Rochin Zazueta. He is a senior at NYU at the School of Film and TV Production with a minor in Urban Design Architectural Studies. That last part, I think, is so he can have some work while he's starting to do some films.
Very cool.
And his uncles and he are both from Bellarmine. Thank you.
Nice to have you. Big boss, why don't you go next and then we'll come back here. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome home.
Thank you.
Boss. The boss of my family, Dr. Gloria Duffy.
Oh, wonderful, Gloria. Nice to have you. Sarju.
Hi, President Karen. Sarju Naran with Hoke Fenton, and today I'd like to introduce you to my guest, Eleno Nunez Gonzalez. He is also an employment attorney and the newest hire for my practice group at Hoke Fenton. Very happy to have been able to lure him away from the dark side of representing employees, and now he's on the employer side.
Nice to have you. Yes.
Hello, I'm John Walker. I'm from Los Gatos Lunch Rotary. With Ramon, we're here as your guests, and pleasure to be here.
Nice to have you. All right, now yes, please.
Hi, I'm Megan Fluke, a nonprofit consultant and leadership coach. I'm here to introduce somebody who I just met 2 minutes ago, who is Jan Genzo, here to support the San Jose fire inspector. Is that it?
Actually, there's some issue with homeless issue going on, so I accompany the inspector coming here. Then I see this Rotary Club. I know this for 10 years, have not been coming here to observe. Thank you.
Well, we're glad to have you. And Megan, please introduce her more formally to our club when you have a chance to chat a little bit. All right, anybody else? Okay, Matt Bell, come on up to give us the most important update, one of the most important updates.
Thank you, President Karen. Good afternoon, everyone. Last week at our monthly membership meeting, we really had a really great and productive meeting. Our district governor, Hung Wei, joined us, and well, it was really wanting just to kind of sit in and because a lot of what we do in membership in this club is something that we share with the rest of the district on some of the practices that we do. But she also came bringing in a lot of other interesting ideas about what some clubs are doing. Wanted to share today, a really important update because, with our the renewals that we just had and in our experience over the last number of years because the pandemic is, showing that we've got our work cut out for us in terms of maintaining and growing our membership. So I want to just start off by talking about at the beginning of this year, we were right at about 400 members. So we went through the renewal process. As you know, we go through that and then we have to report into Rotary, into the district, into Rotary International about our actual membership. So we had 22 resignations. We had 11 terminations. That means those that either just didn't renew and we weren't able to contact. And then unfortunately, 5 members passed away. At the same time, we thus far have added just 16 new members, which is really behind where we typically are. We're usually more in the 20s at this point. So we've got plenty to do here. I want to just take a look back after the last few years here and look at right before the pandemic. We were at 465 members. And so a net loss of 86 members over the last 4 years. So, and it happens quickly. If you're short on that kind of new members and the members lost just for a few years as we've done, then all of a sudden you find yourself really behind. We talked a lot about why this is important. I think you said at the top, we're the 9th largest club in the world, and those are great stats to have, but there are other really good reasons why we want to stay at that level. We obviously have this great Rotary staff led by Leslie here that large clubs like ours really need to really operate the club, and we need to pay them for their good work. The foundation grants, the members, as you come in and we're paying into and contributing to the foundation. Those funds help us give money back into the community and have a great impact here. And the focus for our club is really San Jose centric. One of the few foundations that's really focused here in San Jose. So the less funds we have, the harder it is to be able to pay our staff, and the less impact we're having in the community. So the big message today is let's catch up. Let's get back on track to where we were this year, and then heading into Heather's year, where I know she's got some exciting goals about membership. And we talked earlier this year about asking ourselves, why aren't they in Rotary? When you come across someone, ask that question, why aren't you in Rotary? And like we've seen some of our guests here today, Bunny's doing a great job. Bring people to Rotary just as a friendly lunch. Come check it out. And if there's interest there, then please, if you can, pursue them with membership. I know I got to get going here. Okay, 90 seconds, good. We've also talked about, and we know this is important, so I'm glad to have the time. We had that great instance of Bob Hosfeld's grandson joining Rotary last time. The more we can think about that, do you have children, grandchildren, other relatives who may be interested in Rotary? It's always great to see that legacy continue. And I want to let you know that through the meeting that we had last week, we really decided to revisit what we used to do when I first joined Rotary. And of course, Rod Dierdon and recruited me to be a part of the Membership Development Committee, which was focused exclusively on proactive outreach to prospective members. Over the years, that kind of blended in with membership, and we lost that. But we're bringing that back, and there's a group of us who are coming together and going to really focus on, again, those people that should be in Rotary who aren't. And I just want to thank Rod, Bunny, Karen, and John for joining this committee. I wanted to put this slide up. If you can today, take a picture of this slide. You all know at least one of us, if not all of us. And if you've got someone that you want to recommend to us and provide information and connect us to, we're here ready to take that on and to reach out on your behalf. So thank you for your time, and let's get back on track this year and get the numbers going in the right direction. Thank you.
And the important thing really about membership, besides really enjoying being one of the larger clubs, really stresses the impact that we're able to make in the community. So thank you for that terrific update, Matt. And to that end, it's an exciting time where Brenda Sweeney will come on up and introduce our newest member of the greatest club on earth. Come on up, Heckman.
Hi, everybody. I'm happy to be here this afternoon introducing Hekmas Esos. It's easier said than done, I guess. Anyways, so I'm very pleased to present him today. One of the things that I noticed about him when I first met him, and which you may notice today, is he seems pretty quiet and reserved. But one of the things you'll find out about him as you get to know him is that he's actually pretty brave. He has an interesting history. For 17 years, he supported our troops in Afghanistan. Then he and his family relocated to the United States to start a new life when the government fell. He came here, he started a company. Again, bravery with a little bit of entrepreneurship mixed in. And I forgot what I was going to say. Actually, what I want to do is I wanted to encourage you to go and read his bio either in the lobby or on the website, and then you'll really get a sense for how brave he really is. So I really want you to do that. He's a COO of Eagle Technologies Group, which is a security company here serving businesses in San Jose. In addition to providing those services, one of the reasons why the company is here is to provide opportunities to support Afghan refugees, as he is. So I think we have a committee that will fit for him, and we need to go recruit him for that. I wanted to read to you what his CEO and partner wrote about him, because I think it really says a lot. He is talented in so many ways and is a natural-born leader. In addition to his natural abilities, Hekmat not only dedicates himself to constant improvement as a leader in the business world, but also as a mentor to his Afghan counterparts. I have no doubt that Hekmat will be of value to your organization. So with that, I am honored to be Hekmat's sponsor and to get him started on his Rotary journey. Hekmat?
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Ms. Brenda, for your introduction and for all the support you have done to me to be finally the member of this important Rotary Club of San Jose. So as a new immigrant and CEO for a new business in San Jose, I was really looking for a club or for a people with this much experience. So this is not, I was not able to find a better place from here rather than here. So I am very lucky, and it's an honor for me that I'm standing in front of all these distinguished business and professional leaders. And I will try a lot to be in contact with most of you guys to learn a lot because I'm still new here. You know, my background is military from Afghanistan. Working here, this is a different different environment. But thanks a lot. I don't want to take more time. That's it. Thank you.
Wonderful. We're so glad to have you. I think Jason is taking a picture. Where's Jason? Are you? I finally remembered. Thank you. Congratulations again. Nice to have you. And if the people receiving their blue badges can start making their way up, that would be great. Hekmat, it's going to be exciting to see the committees that you join. And now, because we're just going right from membership to new member, and now we're celebrating people who've successfully completed their red badge year. And of course, we heard about I like that enthusiasm. We heard about the wonderful Red Badge Project just last week. So here to celebrate you, come on up. There you go. And Jason.
I don't get to keep it.
You don't get to keep it?
No.
We're sustainable. We will reuse those badges. Okay. So involved. Nice to be with you.
I love you. I've done so many good things already with this club.
All right, a big round of applause. We love that. And now Jen Simmons is right on time for an ELC update. Come on up.
How do I make the slides come up? There you go. Great, thank you. Thank you, everyone, and it was great to greet you all. If you have not heard of ELC, it's my pleasure to tell you a little bit about us. Every year, in partnership with the Rotary Clubs of Los Gatos Morning, and San Jose, we take 96 high school juniors to Asilomar to teach them business planning skills. We have 12 teams made up of 8 students each, 4 boys, 4 girls, and they all come from different schools and different socioeconomic backgrounds. The conference is also free to all attendees. So if you have not been part of ELC as of yet, I encourage you to do so. My favorite comment that I've heard over the years, I've been doing it for, I think, 14 years now, is one student left, this is from a parent, and a different student came back. The one that left didn't know what they were going to do with their lives. The one that came back now wants to pursue business and knows exactly what they'd like to do. We are looking for some additional help this year. We, as Rotarians, serve as mentors to each of the 12 groups. So we have 2 what we call discussion leaders per group that help the students through the process. And we need a couple more. So here are the conference details, and I hope if you can join us, please reach out to me, and we'd love to have you. There's lots of training and support, so you don't get thrown in without knowing what to do. So thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you. So Jen and I were in the same Red Badge class actually in 2009, and I think you got involved with ELC as one of your very first committees. Now look at you go. Thank you for that. Now it's that exciting time of the month where we're going to ring the bell to celebrate any wins, to talk about any challenges, and just to make sure that your fellow Rotarians are in the loop. So please stand up if you'd like to ring the bell. And I think I heard a phone ring over here, and I'm wondering if we need to find somebody. What do you think? Oh, I have to start with Ray because Ray's got some exciting news.
I do. I became a grandfather for the 6th time. Levi David was born Monday, day before yesterday, at 5 a.m. in the morning. Another one for me to spoil. Right. And I say this, whether you're a parent, grandparent, auntie, uncle, leave them with fond memories. They're special. Leave them with fond memories. We're not going to last forever. But they call me the funny grandpa.
Well, congratulations. Ready for you, Emily.
Hi there, everybody. I'm Emily Robin. You may have seen in the front on the way in a table full of birthday cards for our dear Marie. So I'd like to ring the bell once to say happy birthday to Marie and to remind you all to please sign a card so that we can send her lots of love. And I encourage any of you who also love Marie to please stand up and ring the bell for her today.
Over here, President Karen, it's Catherine Tompkison and my co-chair, Robert Davis from the Military Care Committee. I apologize for the delay, but I'd like to ring the bell to present to the club a commendation from the City of San Jose honoring this club for its dedication to veterans and active military families. This was presented to us on Veterans Day.
And Catherine, thank you for your hard work and your co-leadership. You've committed many countless hours and lots of love to that committee, and we're very grateful. Congratulations.
Hey,
Yes.
President Karen, our dear member Gay Crawford recently celebrated a milestone birthday. So I would like to ring the bell in her honor.
Excellent.
And if I might have a second ring, many of you know we've been talking about our dear Teresa McCarthy retiring, and it's actually going to happen next month. And I'm thrilled to announce that just yesterday, Lisa Regal accepted an offer letter to become our new bookkeeper.
That's great. And one last note about Gay Crawford. The milestone birthday was her 80th, and she was featured on the cover of Los Gatos Living. So great big happy birthday to Gray Crawford. Yes, Big Boss.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to ring the bell twice. First for Marie. She has been a wonderful supporter for the membership committee for all these years. Very sensitive and thoughtful person. And I just hope that she has a good success with her treatments. And the second is to let you all know that you're invited to attend the unveiling of the Mineta statue at the airport. I know Council Member David's going to be there, and others. A lot of dignitaries will be there from the national level right on down. It's at 10 o'clock in the airport Terminal B baggage claim area. So plan to be there 10 o'clock. Your parking is going to be validated. Remember to RSVP, and it's on the 25th, as my prompter tells me, of the month, January 25th.
And you can find more details as well as the RSVP link in this week's bulletin as well as last week's bulletin. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mineta Institute, for all the help.
Always happy to help. Megan.
Hi, President Karen. I'd like to ring 2 bells.
Oh, I love to.
One for my dad, Chuck Tennisgetter. He had surgery last summer, you might remember, and he's doing very well and recovering well, and nothing keeps him down, so he's very busy again, so that's a good sign.
Wonderful.
And the other bell for my sister Leah, who was just named or hired as a new CEO for the Chamber of Commerce here in San Jose. Very exciting.
Please do tell Leah to come back to us. She used to be a terrific member, and we look forward to welcoming her once again. Larry.
President Karen, I have 5 rings
Ooh, I love it.
for 3 reasons.
Okay.
First of all, on January 1st of this year, I became the longest serving elected official in Santa Clara County.
Boo!
Second reason, on January 1st of this year, I became the longest assessor serving in Santa Clara County in state history.
Ooh, you know you're loved.
Yeah, that's right. And thirdly, on February 1st of this year, I completed my 29th year as a member of this club and 29 years of perfect attendance. Now,
all right.
When I tell people that, they look at me like, get a life, Larry. It sounds good, but it's not that difficult. If you belong to a committee, and I belong to 2 for years and years, then I get 2 makeups when I attend a monthly meeting. Also, there's many clubs around here that you can attend. I've attended Rotary meetings in Mumbai, India, Argentina, Malta, and Cape Town, as well as many others. So it's not that difficult, and it's really fun when you get to meet a lot of Rotarians around the world. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please stay.
So for those who like to manage my time, because Larry always watches it, we're going to go just a couple minutes over, because look at all of you who want to share wonderful news and build our foundation. Sean.
Okay. Happy heavenly birthday to my son, Colin, who would be 32 today.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
President Philbrick, Fernando Sasueta, I want to ring the bell twice for each of my 2 relatives, my grandson and my son, because Bellarmine did such a great job in educating them.
Hi, I'm David Cohen, and I will continue the theme, ring the bell on behalf of the Bellarmine Cross Country team, which is back on top in the CCS championships last year. My son was named top senior on the team, finished 7th in CCS, and they had a great finish by finishing 12th in the state at state finals in Clovis.
Whoop, whoop. Thank you. Matt Bell.
I too would like to ring the bell for Marie. Thank you.
President Karen, I wanted to ring the bell twice. Once, about a month ago, I was having lunch and I ran into Mr. George, Bert George, and as they left, I find out that my lunch bill was paid for.
Oh
So
my gosh.
thank you.
That is
Very
so
sweet. And secondly, I was at a wedding fair this weekend filling in for my daughter, and I ran into Mr. Jay Corbett, who is also getting married on May 5th.
Oh, wonderful. Congratulations.
Hi, President Karen. Tom Bondi, I want to ring the bell once for Marie, please.
Thank you.
Hi, President Karen. Dave Cowan. I'd like to ring the bell 3 times.
Ooh, all right.
Twice for my friend and sponsor, Ig Korea, whose company, Sagason Technologies, jumped from 247 to 167 on the top 250 managed security services providers worldwide.
Wow, that's enormous.
And I'd like to ring it once more for Rod Ditteron, because when I was a member at Santa Clara about 4 or 5 years ago, he came and talked to our club, and he challenged each of us, what are we going to do to help the climate? So as of this weekend, my wife and I are 100% electric in the vehicles we drive.
Wonderful. And Rod, he called you out by name, so
Yes,
congratulations.
I'd like to ring the bell for Marie.
And I'd like to ring the bell twice, one for Marie and one for Teresa. You're really going to miss you, Teresa.
All right, and yes, Mike's coming your way.
I'd like to ring the bell 3 times.
Ooh.
First, for my first granddaughter to graduate from University of Wisconsin. Second one, because she's got a job. She's going to start with Oracle, and she's going to be located in Austin, Texas. And the third one, a fine for ringing my telephone bell.
Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, we got one more.
I'm speaking for everybody in the back of the room over here. This is for Marie, for all she's done and all she will continue to do and how much we appreciate her. Thank you.
Wonderful. And then I will close it out with one more ring, and this is also for Marie. As Emily said, she's brought a number of birthday cards. Please make sure to sign those. And in the bulletin, you'll also see that there's a link to sign up for the meal train. She's going to be going on disability, and she's she's finally ready to accept our help. So if you can. And Leslie, I see you back there.
Real quick, I saw on Zoom that Karen Fox would also like to ring the bell for Marie.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, that was 34 rings. I'd say we did a really good job. Thank you for your generosity. Mark McKenna, come on up. Introduce our speaker, please. And he will have his full time.
So good afternoon. It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, Campbell Scott. Dr. Scott was born in Scotland and educated at St. Andrews and the University of Pennsylvania. He worked for 40 years as a material scientist at the IBM Almaden Research Center, developing materials for use in information and energy technologies, including solar cells and batteries. Since retiring in 2020, he has assumed the role of director of the Speakers Bureau of the Climate Reality Project's Silicon Valley chapter. Fittingly then, he is here to speak with us today about the reality of climate change. This is a reality that most of us would like to avoid. Certainly we'd like to avoid the experience, but we also try not to spend too much time thinking about it. After all, what can any of us do about the weather? As Dr. Stott will remind us, we've known this day was coming for some time. Maybe if we thought about this a bit more, a bit sooner, we'd have someone else here to speak to us today on a cheerier topic, like how the Niners are going to win the Super Bowl. That's the bad news. The good news is that it's not too late. 4 decades ago, the argument could be made that addressing the looming climate crisis was just too expensive. Fertilizers and fossil fuels were needed to grow the food and provide the energy to feed the world and lift 1 billion people out of poverty. This was never a really good argument, but it was at least a reasonable one. As Dr. Scott will elucidate for us, we are on the brink of a new green industrial revolution. This is, of course, no time to rest on our laurels. There's much that we still must do individually and collectively to put us on a path to a better, more sustainable future. However, there is reason for hope. George Santayana famously quipped, "Those who don't know history are destined to repeat it." So Dr. Scott will quite rightly begin with a little history lesson. But don't despair. By the end of his talk, you'll see that the history of tomorrow remains to be written. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Scott for his presentation.
Well, thank you, James Williams, for the invitation, and thank you all for coming here today and for that kind introduction. I'm going to try and minimize the bad news and accentuate the good news, because there is quite a lot of good news. Now I'm going to make sure I know how to operate this. Okay, that's my title. I won't repeat it. And here's an outline. I'm going to talk to you first about where we are, the state of the climate. That's very quick. I think you all may be aware of most of what I'm going to skip over. Then I'm going to say how we got here, and that's the little bit of history lesson. Also, that will tell us how we know it's us. How do we know it's human activity that is causing the problem? I will go into the cost of it, why we have to worry. It's not just damage, it's a financial issue. It's partly financial because it's damage. And then I'm going to tell you where we're going and what's coming in the future. So this is a very commonly shown slide. I'm sure you're all aware of the fact that the temperature has been rising pretty steadily for over 100 years. And this slide is already out of date. It goes up to 22. This last year, 2023, was the warmest year of all, by quite a lot. This is a last year's slide. I sent my slides in on Sunday. Monday morning, I found in my news feed an update that the 23 is now really there, and it is almost 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial temperature. So here's the history lesson, a couple of slides. It's 2024 is the 200th anniversary of when Joseph Fourier asked the question, why is the Earth so warm? Well, it's 1824 that he actually answered that question. And he examined the heat coming into the Earth, which is sunlight, of course. There's some, what you could call the cosmic heating, the background radiation from the night sky. And there's heat from inside the Earth. But he decided you can ignore the last two. It's the sunlight that is warming us. And then some of that gets reflected. And then the Earth cools down by radiating in the infrared. You've all seen a hot rock in a fire or a brick or something. Glows red to begin with, and then it gets darker and darker. Still radiating heat, and that's infrared radiation. And that's what cools us. And he thought, it's not cooling fast enough. And there was a whole lot of scientific reasons I won't get into. But he concluded that because it's not cooling fast enough, there must be something stopping it. And the only place that could be is in the atmosphere. So he said, there is something in the Earth's atmosphere that is hindering the cooling rate of the Earth, and therefore we're warmer than we would otherwise be. So that sets the stage. What is that stuff? Well, we know now, 200 years later, actually we knew 50 years later, that it was most likely carbon dioxide. So this is a graph of carbon dioxide over the last 800,000 years. And you can see the ups and downs. When it goes down, the Earth cools off. And when it goes up, it gets warmer, and we come out of glacial periods. The ice melts and it gets warmer. And at the end of I'm going to get my laser pointer, although I can't see the screen well enough. So at the end of the last ice age, there was about 280 parts per million of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Now there's over 400. And there we go. This shows how it has risen in the last 60 years or so. We've gone from about pre-industrial times about 280, now up to over 420. And that is the problem. That is the excess carbon dioxide that is keeping us warmer than we would otherwise be. So where is all this carbon dioxide coming from? Well, it comes from almost everything we do. Mostly from industrial plants, power generation, and even more when it was coal, but now we're using mostly natural gas. Transportation, everything from automobiles through buses and trains to ships and aircraft. Also agriculture, land clearance for more agriculture, mining, and just all these human activities are all adding to the emission of carbon dioxide. So I'm going to back up 100 years. This gentleman was a Norwegian scientist who took what he knew in the 19th century science and calculated for the first time what the change in temperature would be for a given increase or decrease in the change of carbon dioxide. And he took Fourier's model, more or less, incoming sunlight, the yellow arrow coming into the Earth, infrared going out, but going through the atmosphere, and so it gets attenuated. It doesn't get out. Instead, it warms the atmosphere. That warm atmosphere then emits more infrared radiation. Some of it goes up, it goes in all directions, some upwards, some downwards, and what's coming down warms the Earth again, adding to the warmth of the Earth. And Arrhenius calculated that for a doubling of the concentration, there'd be about a 4-degree increase, 4 degrees centigrade increase in the temperature. And we're about halfway to doubling already, and we have about 1.5 degrees warming so far. So he's in the right ballpark with a slide rule, the turn of the 19th century, turn of the 20th century. Computers and models and everything else give a range now that encompasses what he said. The range is about 2 degrees to 5 degrees roughly, that we have some uncertainty, but he was right in the ballpark about 120 years ago. So now another jump ahead, jumping back and forth in time. We can prove that what Fourier said and what Arrhenius calculated is definitely along the right line. NASA built this satellite, a satellite called Terra, on what they call the Ceres program. It's an acronym that's written up there. That circles the Earth about every 90 minutes with one sensor pointing at the sun and a whole lot of sensors pointing back down to the Earth to measure the radiation from the Earth all over the globe. And then here's the next calculation. You know how much radiation is hitting the Earth from the sun, as Fourier said, and you know how much is being reflected, solar radiation that's being reflected. You take the difference of these, and that's how much energy is being absorbed in the atmosphere and by the ground and by the oceans. So you take what is being absorbed and you subtract from that again what is leaving, the infrared radiation now that is leaving, and that gives you the net heat flux. That's how much heat is going into the Earth. And you know, if you put some heat into something, you boil water, it heats up. You put heat into anything, it warms up. So all of that data over 20 years and averaged, or summed rather, I should say, over the entire surface of the Earth, for which they now have all the data, gives you this curve. And that is the excess heat going into the Earth, atmosphere, oceans over the last 20 years. So this sort of puts it all together. I'll jump through this. That's the temperature curve again, a line graph rather than a bar graph. That's the increase in carbon dioxide, and it's not the sun, because the orange line at the bottom there is the change due to sunspot cycles in the Earth, and it's been cooling for 50 years. The sun has been cooling, the Earth has been warming. It's not the sun. All right, so this is going to be a really brief history of climate change denial. It started around the 1960s. The oil companies were actually researching the climate, and Exxon as it was then, I'm sorry, other way around. It was Esso, now it's Exxon. They were world leaders. They were with the best scientists in the world. at conferences presenting their data until they came to the conclusion that the Earth is warming because of carbon dioxide. And they suppressed that information, canceled some of their own publications, and even canceled the whole research program, redirected or laid off their scientists, and instead funded a campaign to spread doubt, confusion, misinformation about climate and the science behind it. In fact, they said that the planet is not warming. Well, if you looked at the graph before, maybe it had flattened out a little bit for a while, but it was still warming. And then 10 years after that, oh, it may be warming, but it's natural phenomenon, nothing to worry about. Well, it's getting warmer and warmer, but we can manage this. We'll move people to higher ground and build more seawalls. And today, they're saying that, no, I'm sorry, they're getting paid to capture the carbon that they're emitting. So the smokestacks and everything, they collect the carbon dioxide. And what do they do with it? They pump it into the ground, push out more oil, what's called enhanced oil extraction. Okay, I brought my water up. I'll use this one. I don't normally drink out of a plastic bottle, but I forgot my cup.
We actually thought about that. Don't worry.
So let's get to the damage and the cost of the damage that's been caused. This is the gloom and doom bit, so I'm going to skip through a lot of slides very fast here. The main thing that affects us right now is that the warmer air, the atmosphere is heating up, that atmosphere carries more water vapor. And so we get more severe storms and things like this atmospheric river. I'm sure you've heard about it. This is my favorite image of it, where the green slash is basically the jet stream carrying water vapor from Hawaii to California, where it comes down as rain. And that then gives us floods, the one at Pajaro last year, this one at Orville Dam, nearly broke the dam altogether, broke the spillway, and many other floods over the area. But it also brings droughts because these pressure systems, high pressure, blocks the storm pathways. So some areas get droughts instead, like the Colorado River Basin, where the Colorado River is now flowing down. And we get wildfires, melting glaciers. There's images of these there. Warm water expands and gets water from the melted ice of the glaciers. So sea level rises. Sea ice melts. That means a place like the Arctic, the top right here, exposes more water surface. Water absorbs more heat than ice. The sunlight reflects off the ice. It goes into the water and is absorbed. So that's another warming activity that is feeding into the heating. Corals bleach. Hurricanes not only form more often, they form faster. And this is the damage from Hurricane Otis that hit Acapulco and that part of Mexico last fall. That it was a hurricane that went from being a tropical storm, not even rated 1, to rated 5 in 24 hours. So that sort of growth rate of a hurricane is very unusual. It also acidifies the oceans, and that makes it harder for shellfish and plankton to make their shells, and plankton are the bottom of the food chain. It goes all the way up through krill to fish and whales. So this is a tally of the damage that's been done from World Economic Organization. And basically what it's saying is that year after year, these are decades, we're increasing the cost of the damage until the point where it's well over 100 billion a year and growing. And it's not just monetary damage, but people die, wildlife go extinct, habitats change. So now we come to the good news. And I'm getting a little short of time, so I'm going to, even the good news is, you all know about solar cells, I'm sure, and about wind turbines, see them all over the place. The good news is the cost of that technology is dropping, and it's now less than natural gas per megawatt hour or kilowatt hour, I guess megawatts on this graph. And it's way cheaper now than coal, nuclear's on there. So the cost of renewable energy is coming down and is lower than everything else. Same is true with batteries. The cost of batteries is coming down, so we need the storage because the sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow. So we need batteries, and the cost of that is coming down. I don't want to emphasize this too much. I don't have time. It's a complicated graph. But basically, we're at a tipping point where the new technology is generating enough revenue to reinvest profits in improving that technology, and that takes off. And that's called a virtuous cycle. And the converse of that is a vicious cycle, or a death spiral, if you like. And some of the coal in particular is well into that cycle. So going in the right directions. And that means, again, I'll skip this one mostly, to say that renewable energy has been growing. Natural gas is leveling off. It replaced coal initially, but now it's being replaced in turn by renewables. So this is Moss Landing. It's not the only power plant that has stopped generating electricity and started storing it. So that row of, oops, sorry.
See, I shouldn't stand so close. I deserve that. Step over here.
That row of white blocks on the left, bottom left of that, that's the battery bank. It was 400 megawatts when it was built. It's now 750. I'm told it's going to go up to just about a gigawatt, 1,000 megawatts. And they should stop there because that's not a very good place to put the batteries. They have transmission lines that were previously carrying that much, but that's not where the people are. You can store it at the other end where the consumption is, and not have to build a lot of extra power lines. I'm going to skip a couple of minutes. I just want to wrap.
3 minutes, literally.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so renewable energy is going ahead. We're still funding fossil fuels, subsidizing them. Climate change is inflationary. It raises the cost of insurance, healthcare, and it disrupts the supply chains. And to counter that inflation, the Inflation Reduction Act was passed a couple of years ago. We can do everything we need to stop it. It's all there. It's actually going to be cheaper in the long run. You can pay now or pay a whole lot more later. So I'll let you read that summary for a couple of minutes, and I'll take, if there's still time, for a question or two.
Sorry, we're running a tight ship
No,
here.
I knew that was going to happen.
Well, it's such an important topic, and one that many of our Rotarians are deeply passionate about. So Dr. Scott, we really appreciate you sharing your time and expertise. We do have time for a question or two. Any questions? Yes. The mic's coming to you right now. Here you go, sir.
I recently moved back to California, and at the advice of my family, decided to ship my car back here because because the San Jose suburbs were too sprawled out for me to do anything effectively. I keep hearing about this extension of the BART line and a high-speed rail connecting northern and southern California, but for various reasons, I guess the project's been stalled. So how can we as residents and citizens put pressure on the government to develop our public transportation infrastructure?
That is a political question, not a technology question. I think it mostly has to do with funding. Maybe Rod is more qualified to answer this than I am, but it was delayed at the beginning. It ran over costs. There was pushback because of political and financial and taxation considerations. It's still a good idea. It's just part of the expense of getting there. I think that's the bottom line.
If I may, excuse me, sir, that project is not stalled. There's 119 miles under construction. It has full environmental clearance, and they just hired their 10,000th employee. So it's alive, it's well, and it's going beautifully. One last question.
Thanks for being here and presenting. So you gave a lot of reasons why we have challenges, right? But we also hear a lot about the challenges with mining some of the materials for batteries, lithium, et cetera. We also hear about disposing of it. We also understand that, things like solar and wind aren't automatic energy. So there's a downside also, and could you touch on some of those concerns?
Yes, I wouldn't call it a downside. I would say there are difficulties and there are hurdles, but they're not. They can be overcome. In particular, there are other battery technologies. Lithium ion is ahead because it was built for cell phones initially, and then automobiles. If it's standing still in Moss Landing, there's actually iron-based batteries and renewable materials, much more renewable. Lithium's pretty common. It's just hard to extract. So yes, there are hurdles, and we're not going to get there at any time in the next decade or 2 or even 3 decades. So, but we got to start, and we got to keep working on it and developing better technology and cheaper product. Oh yeah.
Thank you. And Dr. Scott has generously said he will stay a few moments afterwards if you have additional questions. And in honor of your time and talent, we've made a contribution to Loaves and Fishes. So thank you very much, Dr. Scott, and we will be sure to reuse that bottle if you don't take it home. Promise you there. And then on a related note, and a big shout out to Mark McKenna and Deanna Persai, their Climate Action Council has secured Dr. Dawn Maruska for a program speaker on Thursday, February 25th from 5 to 6 p.m. If you'd like additional information, please refer to this week's bulletin. And fun fact, he just got back from a trip to Antarctica and Patagonia. He's a Rotarian from the Central Coast, and he's written a book about solving the climate crisis. So for more information, see Mark or Deanna, and thank you again for your hard work there. And then, of course, I want to wish Jaime Chavez and Terry Chapman a very safe trip on the Rotoplas mission. They leave this weekend to Bangladesh. So if you see them, wish them well. And then one text came in to me that I want to read to you that Marie placed in the chat for those of you who didn't see it. And she just wanted to say that she's so overwhelmed with the love and support, and thank you so much. She feels it very deeply from all of you. So yes. And then next week, our speaker will be Ryan Hubris, talking about economic ties to Vietnam. And then finally, in my final thought, and I really like this one, mindfulness cultivates key qualities such as focus, empathy, and resilience, enabling you to lead with greater engagement and effectiveness and to provide social support to those who need it. So be well this week. I look forward to seeing you in 7 short days.